Well, John, wow, with the game. I want to say what the game I'm surprised. At this point, I'm not surprised by the Cincinnati Bengals blowing out their heated, hated rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I honestly, John, I don't even know what the final score was. So let me just tell you what happened. So it's 31
You,
to
you,
what,
you didn't
3?
watch the end?
Okay, so a lot of people, when they think of Black Friday, they think of getting a bigger screen TV and what they're doing it all wrong. You see, the best deals are on Thanksgiving items. So if you go to Kroger, which I did, I was like, this game is over. At the half, I was like, this game's over. So I go to Kroger, and John, turkey basters, 47 cents. Turkey was 43 cents a pound. Do you know, if you have an industrial freezer, do you know what kind of profits you can turn if you hold on to them until next thing? It's crazy. But that is the direction this game pushed me in. It's like, what is the point of watching when the Steelers, like Tyler Boyd said after the last matchup, they don't feel like competing. They don't want to try.
They kind of did at the end of this. You kind of missed them kind of trying at the end, which is why they ended up getting 10 points.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't have the physicality. They do the pull, the hair pulling and the scratching and all that kind of stuff. Like you saw TJ Watt, like he tried to slam Joe Burrow's head into the turf and he held on to him. They can't beat us. We are the better team, but they have to like rely on these little scare tactics, these little girly tactics. It was terrible.
I,
They
I think
look
it
like a
is just them
terrible
being
team.
no, it's them being looks like they're just scared at this point. They're just so
Yeah,
outmatched and intimidated.
loud match.
No, I was talking to someone during the game about this. When was the last time that you saw a Bengals offensive line just move like a cohesive wall against that defensive line? It was so consistent. And I know we're going to talk about Joe Mixon and his fantastic day. And he did have a couple of really good runs that really boosted his rushing total, but very rarely did the Steelers get any penetration in run defense. And did they move that Bengals offensive line at all? It was just, it was a steamrolling against a fully healthy this time Steelers defensive line. Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, all of them were out there. All of them got blown off the line, I think 30 or so times whenever Mixon touched the ball. And Mixon always had just ample space to make things work and was just all game. I hadn't seen an offensive line performance like that in Cincinnati, might you have, since like 2006 when they had Willie Anderson, who was there at the game as the ruler of the jungle, since they had Richie Graham at center, since they had Steinbach and Bobby Williams and Andrew Woodworth as a rookie. Like that offensive line, it dominated that Pittsburgh defensive line, and it was just a microcosm of the growth I think that the running game has kind of taken, and then these last 2 weeks has really carried the offense.
Yeah. I mean, the offensive line coaches, the guys like, was it Duke, Manyweather, those type of guys, they always say it's about being cohesive. And these offensive line players, they are playing together. They're playing like they care about their team, about their O-line coach, Frank Pollock. And yeah, the talent isn't spectacular. I mean, so yeah, we're going to struggle against some pass rushers that, are actually good, not cheating good. Not to name names, I'm not going to, I'm not going to say TJ Watt or anything like that, but it's very cheap player. I actually very upset by that play. And that is why I love Mike Hilton. He immediately is like, oh, you're going to do that? Well, look, I'm going to show you that we're just better than you. You cheat, but we're actually just going to play the game. We're going to destroy you. And Bet Roethlisberger, he looked terrible. All game, he looked terrible. They kept him in
This
at
is
the
like what
end to pad his
is this going to be
stats.
his 10th? This is going to be his 10th game where he's like done, and it's going to be that narrative, and then he's going to somehow come back the next week and
Yeah,
try
I
to
mean,
play.
look, well, the thing is, next week he'll be like 10 days removed from Thanksgiving dinner. So I imagine he'll be a little lighter than he was this game. That is just my guess. I mean, he was especially bad this game. But, John, when I look at this game, yeah, Joe Mixon stood out. Fantastic. T. Higgins, I would say maybe was the player of the game, even though Joe Mixon had, the best stats and he was kind of the main, offensive. But T. Higgins had those big plays, and he was the guy who, look, they were focused on Jamar Chase. They were like, we're going to take him out of the game. T. Higgins stood up. And it wasn't like he was wide open. He was making some contested catches. He was showing off his physicality. He was complimenting, Jamar Chase is the game breaker. he is the kind of, I don't want to say move their sticks because they're pretty deep passes, but he's the kind of like, out jumping, just like using his length to beat you, not so much blowing by you.
Well, that's what he was supposed to be this season. We haven't really
Right.
seen that aside from maybe a couple moments. This was the game that I think a lot of us expected the entire T. Higgins season to look like based off of what we were being told back in the preseason and in the offseason. It was him dominating at the catch point, like you said, moving the chains on third down, toe tapping occasionally on the sideline, making a couple tough catches over the middle. And that touchdown, man, like that's him climbing the ladder using all 6'4" of his frame and just dominating a cornerback that he should dominate. Like it took a while, but this was the T. Higgins I've arrived in year 2 game for sure.
Yeah. I mean, John, it's like I look at this game and there's so many things to be happy about. The pass rush, BJ Hill, what a great signing he was. Trey Hendrickson, what a great signing he was. Sam Hubbard, gave him a new contract. He looked fantastic. And those guys have stepped up. But the guy that people have really mocked, I mean, as recently as 2 weeks ago, Eli Apple, 2 weeks in a row, interceptions. And people said, oh, they're just not throwing his way because he's no good. Oh, he's this, he's that. Well, guess what happens when you throw his way? The guy's an interception machine. No, really, John. I mean, the guy, I mean, yes, he has his moments where he gets, kind of, but I mean, he is showing some of that talent, that first round talent. I mean, look at his ability to kind of break on the ball, both 2 weeks in a row. And those were 2 huge plays. One ended the game, one that started the dominant game.
Honestly, what they're getting out of Eli Apple is just as good, if not better, than what they would be getting out of a healthy Trey Waynes, which is hard to believe based off of who Eli Apple was coming into the season. But I mean, when's the last time you could say that like a Bengals cornerback had multiple interceptions in a single season? I don't know if I can recall that. But, he's playing fine. Like, he's playing the best that Eli Apple can possibly play. He was in the right position for that terrible throw by Ben. And honestly, like, that's the only major injury that they've suffered in the entirety of the starting lineup. And he's playing just as good, if not better, than the actual starter would be had he been in the lineup. He's playing well. Just look at the guys who made plays in this game aside from the guys that they drafted in Mixon, Higgins. You have Eli Apple with the interception. You have Mike Hilton with the pick 6. Trey Hendrickson with a strip sack fumble. Even Chidobe Awuzie was giving you a couple good coverage snaps there. All free agents. All guys signed this year. They waited years. To do anything meaningful in free agency. In the first 2 years that they did it, they're now 3-1 against the Steelers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Might mean something.
No, that's a great point. I mean, we've been saying for years and years and years, please do something in free agency. Please. Every year, we feel like they're going to do something. They don't do something. Last year, DJ Reader, right? Von Bell. Who am I missing? Some great signings that, again, I said this time and time again, it's not just about talent. It really is about their attitude. They are team players and they're competitive players. And we use those words a lot, John. But look at these guys. Look at the culture. Look at the locker room. It is different. These were very smart signings. And I don't know who to give credit to, if it's Zach, Lou, both of them, if it is Katie. I don't know who it is. But whoever it is, I love you. This is what we've been waiting for. Don't just spend money wisely. And look, let me be honest. Most Bengals fans said the Trey Hendrickson, they got desperate. Most Bengals fans were like, Chidobe Awuzie or Awuzie. I don't know how to say his name. It's Awuzie, I think. No, I think he said it. He said it in the video. He said it differently. I don't remember. But yeah. But the thing is, a lot of people are like, they settled. He was on the Cowboys for all these years. He didn't do much. They saw something in him and they were right. Eli Apple, it's just Lou Anarumo knew him for the Giants. No, Lou Anarumo knew this kid has some untapped potential. He's like, trust me, this kid is going to get better. And he did. So, I mean, it's very forward thinking. And, even the hiring of Zach, a lot of us were like, okay, yes, I can see it. But is it risky? Yes, very risky. And so that's why we were ready to give up on it. It was like, okay, he wasn't qualified. We all knew that. He didn't have the experience. So we're like, on the one hand, we're like, it's kind of like what's in the box type of scenario. We don't know. It could be, it could be another turkey baster. But then you'd be like, I could just get that 47 cents. Why would I pay $2 for the box? But we don't know
What is the normal price of a turkey baster? Yeah, how much are you saving with
well,
that?
they range from about $1.59 to $4.99. Depends on if you get the chrome plated ones, or you get there's a lot of different options. But yeah, if you stock up, if you go to Kroger's, it's a great time to buy turkey basters.
But the Bengals had been purchasing discounted turkey basters in free agency for 30 years.
Exactly. And this time, what I was saying with the Zach is that it was like, we don't know what he is. And so, but there is a vision there. It's like, yes, he's young. Yes, he's inexperienced, but there's something about his personality that we know he's going to put it together. And that's this whole team. And by the way, I just saw Natty Jungle left a comment. And I just want to say something. I think he brought this to our attention last time, John. So Natty Jungle, he was talking about the different tiers of supporting the team, of supporting our show. And we thought he was talking about Patreon. He was actually talking about Google memberships. Did you know we had Google memberships?
Well, no, you don't tell me any of these things.
Right. Well, because then I have to give you a percentage. But John, so we have these different tiers. And I adjusted them, as he said. Natty, thank you very much, Natty. He was in the Carlos Dunlap tier, which is $9.99 per month. And I changed that to the Trey Hendrickson, right? The Trey Hendrickson replaced Dunlap. And so he's in that tier. Thank you so much, Natty Jungle. And we are going to work on a very special message for you when Dr. Hoji is here. And we have another guy who supported the team, Kentucky Ron, who was in the Kevin Huber tier for 99 cents. What a deal. Great deal. And I changed that to the Von Bell tier, right? And so we have those. We have the Jamar Chase tier, $4.99. We have the Joe Burrow tier, $19.99. And we have the Rick Holly tier. And you're thinking, what is the Rick Holly tier? I've never heard. So the Rick Holly tier, it is the best deal you can get, $49.99. And you get a portrait of yourself if you join the tier. And it is called Rick Holly because he is one of the earliest and strongest supporters of the show. He's thousands and thousands of dollars he has donated to the show. And you're like, where does that go? Nobody knows how expensive it is, John, to pay for the electricity bills and the gas and the electric and the water and all that stuff for my home where I shoot these shows. So thank you to all of you. And also, we had someone mentioned super chats. I don't know if you know what super chats are. I didn't know. But so super chats are when
that was by design. Yeah.
Yeah. And so someone gave us, hold on. I think it was, let me see. Rick Holly, of course. Classic Rick Holly. He gave us $10 in the super chats last time. So that's another thing you can do. So you can become a member. It's next to the subscribe button. There is Natty Jungle. And and you can do that, or you can go to Patreon. We have another Patreon last time. I don't know what happened with the show, John. Very lucrative show. We had a Patreon, Kyle Beverly. He's in the $5 Trey Hendrickson tier. So thank you to Kyle Beverly and all the patrons. Moving on, John. Moving on. The next question is, do we beat the Chargers at home? And of course, this is going to be Burrow versus Herbert. And a lot of people want to make big deal out of it, which is ridiculous. I think it's silly. I think it's silly to compare the two quarterbacks. Everybody should just be grateful that we get to watch these guys play. But, oh, wow, Rick Holly gave us another $10. Oh, Razmataz did. Okay. Wow, that is a good one. Big Ben got his turkey basted today at a discount rate. He did.
That's 20 turkey basters.
That is crazy. Yes, that's 20 turkey basters. That's a lot of money, Razmataz. If I turn those 20 turkey basters and hold on to them for, 360, 3 days or something, John, do you know what kind of profit that's going to be? That's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Thank you, Razmataz. But Chargers, we're going to talk about that game on Tuesday. And I don't want to spoil the surprise, but we have two very special guests for you.
Ooh.
One of them may or may not have been a Pro Bowl fullback for the Chargers named Lorenzo Neal. He may or may not have been. There.
Yeah.
You see if you can guess. If you can guess, a special surprise. But It is going to be great. We're going to have a lot of fun. We always love talking to the former players. And yeah, but what a game. John, you know what I liked about this game, John, was that
What?
no one looked surprised. At the end, all the players were just kind of like smiling and laughing. And, that Mike Hilton interception, pick six, did you see his reaction? He was just like, oh, yeah, it's what I do. It's what I do. I know Ben. He's going to,
No, man. Like
he's
I think Brandon Allen at this point just is expecting to come into the game. This is 3 times now
right.
that they've had their subs come into games. I guess one of them was against the college team in Detroit, and I guess this one was also against the college team against Pittsburgh. But knowing that, I was actually curious, so I looked this up. In the first in the entirety of like the Bengals history and the franchise history, in the first 11 games of a season, I looked at total point differential for just wins, and this team is already fourth all time in
Wow.
point differential for wins. They're only behind the Super Bowl team of 1988, 1989, which also swept the Steelers that year, and 1976. So they're
Wait,
ahead of actually the
1989, John,
2015.
89 is the year after the second Super Bowl, you're saying? Or you're talking about
Yeah,
88? Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah. 88 is when they went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
89, I
yeah, I
think they
just
were
want to make
still
sure.
good
That's
that year.
interesting. That's
No,
interesting.
so they're
2015, you were
not
saying.
only like they're winning, but they're winning big in these games, which I think they're at least top 8 in point
Yeah.
differential for wins just for this season compared to any other team, and they're not really losing that big either. So
No.
like I think
They've had,
that's pretty indicative of a dominant team, is it not?
you take the Browns game, okay? And that was the kind of, wake up call. That was the one where it's like, hey, guys, we can't compete physically with every team. We're very talented, but we can't, when we have these huge offensive line guys that are pushing our guys out of the way, they have the best running personnel in the league, right? We're like, we can't do that unless Joe Burrow catches fire, basically. And so that was a wake up call. Now, do I think that that's going to happen again? No. I think the next time we're in that situation, this is, what I love about this coaching staff, John? They don't
What?
always look brilliant, but they know. They're very self-aware. They keep track of their mistakes. They keep track of where they went wrong. And they're like, we're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. They're not going to repeat. They're too young. John, remember what we talked about? What's the Zach Taylor? He's what? He's like, I mean, he's so young. He still really hasn't developed short-term memory, from what I understand. I explained this once before. He doesn't remember. He literally does not remember. You say, hey, it's like, you like we said, you hide the football behind your back. He thinks it's gone. It's never coming back. That is the lack of.
He's the guy from Memento, basically. He has to write everything down because he doesn't remember.
Well, he's just a kid. He's just a kid, John.
Yeah.
He's just a kid. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But this coaching staff, very short memory, and they adjust. So what I'm saying is, we had one bad game. The Bears game, I don't know what happened. That was just one of those Joe Burrow was kind of rusty type games. The Green Bay loss was perfectly normal, competitive game. The Jets one was very strange. I think they just really out schemed us. They had a great game plan. And then, I mean, the really bad one was just the Browns game. That was the only one that was kind of disheartening. Other than that, like you're saying, we had so many dominant games where we look like. So what I'm saying is, I think it's a young team. They have the people in place they have a very high ceiling, but it's just going to take time for them to learn from their mistakes.
In regards to this upcoming matchup, I don't think that the Chargers are the team that will out scheme them. If the Chargers end up doing well, just look at how teams beat the Bengals, right? Aside from the Browns, good quarterback play, good pass rushers. Chargers have a great one in Joey Bosa, and they have a really good quarterback in Herbert. If it ends up where the Chargers look good, it'll probably be because those two played well. But there is something to be said about finding your stride at the right time, right before the playoffs happen, right into December. You got your running back hot, you got your quarterback playing well, you got your defense playing like they got a fire under their butt. There is something to be said about peaking at the right time, and I don't think anyone wants to play this Bengals team right now.
Yeah. I mean, the Steelers certainly don't. They are relieved for the first time, John. And as long as I've been watching the Bengals, I think this is the first time I've seen the Steelers. Actually, no, Ken Anderson was talking about this. You remember he was talking about how the Steelers were always afraid of us when I played. And you know who is the most Ken Anderson quarterback we've had in our history after Ken Anderson?
It's Joe
Joe
Burrow.
Burrow. Yeah, he really is. Because no, he said, I mean, he kind of hinted at this. He was like, it's about preparation. And it's what I do. It is what he does. That is true. Neither of them had the physical traits that blow you out of the water or anything. But they were just very, very smart, very prepared. And the Steelers don't want to face Joe Burrow. TJ Watt, I mean, you just a week after Cam Hayward tried to kill somebody, tried to kill Justin Herbert. TJ Watt was doing the same, and I was very upset. I'm still upset about that. Very upset about that.
Burrow
But
was asked about
lucky,
that after the game. He
yeah,
said TJ had just a good block. That's all he said.
yeah, because he's not afraid of anybody. He's like, bring it. Mike Hilton's got my back. He's gonna take that pick six.
Did you see
Beautiful.
on one of the mix-and you may have been grocery shopping for turkey basers at this point, but there was a
Right.
huge mix and run where he kind of bended it back and it was like a broken play. Jamar Chase was out in front. He was blocking. It was Joe Burrow sprinting right behind him.
Wow.
I don't know what he expected to do, but he was like, sometimes you'll just see quarterbacks, just kind of like walk, put an arm
Yeah.
up in the air in celebration. He was dead hauling butt down there to do whatever he wanted. Yeah.
The thing about a guy like Joe Burrow, when they do that, yeah, it's not probably not to contribute to the play, but it sends such a message to the guys. He knows that. He knows that I am going to tell my guys I love them and I will fight for them the way they fight for me. I really love this team, John. I really love Joe Burrow and this team. It is something special. I don't know if we're going to win the Super Bowl this year, but it's coming very soon. But yeah, so John, you were telling me if you go to our videos next to the subscribe button, you can see the membership thing. You can join the membership, right?
Yeah, there's a join button right next to subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, definitely hit that one too.
Okay. And have you joined, John?
I have not. I still need to subscribe as well. So I better do that first.
Yeah, please. And that, of course, we give employee discounts if you become a member. But look, John, that's for John Sheeran. I'm Dadio McDuke. Don't forget to check us out on Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have our Chargers preview with I can't ruin it. I'm not going to ruin it, but a very special guest whose last name may or may not rhyme with veal. It's going to be great. And we the number one Bengals podcast on iTunes and all the other stuff. And don't forget to subscribe here, turn on notifications. For John Sheeran, I'm Dadio McDuke. We will see you next time. So long. SVT. Bye.